97 years. I have been alive for 97 years. I have watched 12 presidents. I have watched wars start and end and start again. I have watched entire industries rise and collapse and get replaced by things nobody saw coming. I have watched generations of bright, capable, hungry people chase success with everything they had. And I am here to tell you something that none of them wanted to hear, and that most of them figured out too late. The thing you are chasing does not exist the way you think it does, and the way you are chasing it is costing you everything that actually does. That is not pessimism. I want to be clear about that. I am not a bitter old man telling you that nothing matters. I am the opposite of that. I am someone who has seen enough of life to know exactly what matters and exactly what does not. And I am furious, genuinely furious, that nobody tells young people the truth about this before they spend the best decades of their lives finding it out the hard way. So let me just say it plainly. The biggest lie about success is that it is a destination, that there is a point you reach, a number in your account, a title on your door, a house in the right neighborhood, a moment when the world finally looks at you and says, yes, you did it. You are enough. You can rest now. That moment does not exist. I have watched people spend 60 years looking for it and never finding it, and dying still convinced it was just one more achievement away. That lie has stolen more from more people than any enemy, any disaster, any force I have witnessed in 97 years on this earth. I want to tell you about a man named Robert. I met Robert in 1959 when we were both young and ambitious and certain that we were going to build something remarkable. Robert was brilliant, not in a quiet way, in a way that filled every room he walked into. He had vision and drive and an appetite for achievement that I genuinely admired. He built a successful business, then a bigger one. Then he sold that and built another. By the time he was 50, he had more money than he could spend in 3 lifetimes, and a reputation that opened every door he approached. He had won. By every external measure that our culture uses to keep score, Robert had won completely. I had dinner with Robert when he was 63. He had just sold his 3rd company. He should have been celebrating. He looked tired in a way that sleep could not fix. We sat there over a meal that cost more than my first car, and he said something to me that I have turned over in my mind ever since. He said, I keep waiting to feel like I have arrived. I keep thinking the next thing will be the thing that finally makes it feel real, and it never does. He laughed when he said it, a short, hollow laugh, the kind that means something is true and painful at the same time. His children were grown and lived across the country. His second wife had left 4 years earlier. His calendar was full, and his house was empty. And he was 63 years old, still waiting to feel like enough. Robert's desk had a plaque on it that said, "Success is a journey, not a destination." He had bought it himself years earlier at an airport gift shop. He showed it to me once and said he thought it was a cliché. He was right. It was a cliché. But clichés become clichés because they are true, and nobody wants to sit with the truth long enough to actually use it. Now, here is what most people think this conversation is about. They think it is about slowing down or being grateful or some gentle reminder to smell the roses. But that is not what I am saying. I am saying something harder than that. I am saying that the definition of success you are working from was handed to you by people and systems that benefit from your endless striving. It was designed to be unreachable, not accidentally, deliberately. A destination you can never arrive at keeps you running. A standard you can never fully meet keeps you buying, achieving, performing, competing. The economy of ambition depends on you never feeling like enough. And you have been so deep inside it for so long that you have started to confuse the hunger they gave you with a hunger that is genuinely yours. Here is what I have learned in 97 years about what success actually is. Are you ready for this? It is embarrassingly simple, and almost nobody lives by it. Success is waking up and wanting to be where you are. That is it. Not arriving somewhere, not accumulating something, not being recognized for something, wanting to be where you are, in your life, in your home, in your work, in your relationships, on an ordinary Tuesday morning, with nothing remarkable happening, and feeling somewhere in your chest that this is right, and this is mine, and this is enough. I have met wealthy people who did not have that feeling, and I have met people with almost nothing who had it completely. And I can tell you without any uncertainty which ones were successful. I have seen this lie play out across my entire lifetime in different costumes. In the 1940s, it wore the costume of the American dream, the house and the car and the steady job and the white fence. And men broke themselves chasing that image and called it aspiration. In the 1960s, it wore the costume of reinvention. Throw off the old world and build something new. And people chased freedom with the same compulsive urgency they had chased conformity and ended up just as lost. In the 1980s, it put on a suit and called itself winning, and taught a generation that greed was not just acceptable, but admirable. And the people who won the most visibly were often the emptiest up close. And now it wears the costume of the personal brand, the hustle, the optimized life. And you carry it in your pocket, and it finds you first thing in the morning, before you have even decided who you are today. Nothing has changed, only the outfit. The lie is identical. Here is what nobody tells you about achievement. Every time you reach the thing you were reaching for, there is a moment, sometimes just a few hours, sometimes a few days of genuine satisfaction. And then something shifts. The bar moves. The target changes. The achievement that was going to make everything okay quietly stops being enough, and a new, slightly larger version of enough appears just ahead of you. This is not a character flaw. This is how the human brain works, and it is also how every system designed to profit from your ambition works. They know about that shift. They are counting on it. They built the whole thing around it. Your restlessness is not a sign that you need more. It is a sign that you were never told the truth about where to look. I want to ask you something. Think back to a moment in your life when you felt genuinely, completely at peace. Not numb, not distracted, not medicated into calm, but actually at peace in a way that felt like coming home. Where were you? What were you doing? I would be willing to bet that you were not in the middle of achieving something. I would be willing to bet you were in the middle of being somewhere, with someone, doing something ordinary, eating a meal, sitting in a yard, laughing at something that does not translate into a story, holding someone's hand. Those moments are the evidence. Those moments are your own life trying to show you what it is actually made of. I stopped chasing in my late 60s, not because I gave up, but because I finally got honest with myself about what I was actually looking for, and realized I had been looking for it in all the wrong places. I wanted to feel like I mattered. I wanted to feel like my being here made some kind of difference. And I had been trying to feel that through achievement, through recognition, through building things that would outlast me, through the opinions of people who barely knew me. And all of that, all of it, delivered a fraction of what I found in one honest conversation with my son, one afternoon helping a neighbor with something small, one morning sitting with my wife in the kitchen, saying nothing at all because nothing needed to be said. That is what mattered. That was always what mattered. And it was available to me every single day for decades before I was humble enough to stop running long enough to receive it. You are not behind. I need you to hear that clearly. You are not behind, and there is no race. And the people you are comparing yourself to are just as uncertain as you are. They are just louder about their highlights and quieter about their doubts. The comparison is a trap, and you already know it is a trap, and you fall into it anyway, because the alternative, defining success for yourself on your own terms, requires a kind of courage that nobody prepares you for. It is easier to chase the thing the world tells you to chase, because at least then you know what direction to run. Defining it yourself means standing still long enough to listen to your own life. and standing still is the thing that terrifies people most. Robert died at 79. We had stayed in touch all those years. At the end, he was softer than the man I had met in 1959, slower and quieter, and more willing to sit in a room without filling it. He had found some version of peace in his final years. He spent time with his grandchildren. He learned to cook, which he found hilarious and wonderful. He called me once just to talk. No agenda, no deal, no purpose except the talking. I think he finally started to feel like he had arrived. It just took him until almost the end to stop running long enough to realize he had been there all along. Do not wait until almost the end. You are enough right now. Not when you hit the number, not when you get the title, not when the account looks right or the house is paid off or the world finally says, well done. Right now, exactly as you are, with everything unfinished and uncertain and still becoming. You are already enough. I have been alive for 97 years, and that is the truest thing I know. Stop chasing. Start living. That is all.